Sometimes it's good. Sometimes it's a little.
You know what? It makes you a better person.
Absolutely.
Right.
So we're back.
We are back. We are back after lunch.
Yep.
Yep. Had a really good ham sandwich that was top notch.
Nice.
No Frankfurters yet.
I know that's your favorite.
Maybe later. But let's get on with this. We got a very interesting guest with us. If you would, sir, real quick, just give us your name, who you're with, and what you do.
I'm Thorsten Kriening, and I'm the CEO and publisher of spacewatch.global, and we're an information platform about everything space in a geopolitical environment. And we do it here out of Europe, out of Germany, out of Berlin, not Frankfurt, but out of Berlin.
Sure.
And try to get the message out into the world. And we do it quite successfully. We're an independent one, so we are not servicing the government or the hill. So
okay, it's independent. Good to know. Good to know. And so, like your audience, talk about who your audience is for the most part.
Our audience is primarily in the space sector globally and on the surrounding sectors, because space becomes more and more an infrastructure. And so space is involved in everything, more or less. I mean, I'm not talking about the people that drawing their money from an ATM or something like that. Even so, there's space involved, or following the blue dot on their mobile. I mean, that would be too far. We are really B2B, B2G focused.
Yep.
You could say it's quite nerdy what we do.
Oh, sure.
Yeah, we love nerdy. So like what's new in space? What are some of the cool things that are happening right now that you can talk about?
I can talk about everything because
exactly.
All right, let's spill it.
I'm press,
Tell us everything. I'm excited. I know there's so much happening in that arena.
The big thing here in Germany is that we just got a big boost for our German space components, German space or defense component. Our Minister of Defense just announced last week, or on the 25th of September, the 35 billion euro budget for German investments into space assets, into ground assets to protect space. No, not to protect space, to protect Germany from space. So and that includes satellite, ground stations, all of the above.
Yeah,
there's a big need. We have a capability gap that we have to close, because the partners that have been there in the years might not be that reliable anymore. I mean, depending on the morning coffee, obviously, at the moment.
Yeah. What are you protecting from? You said protecting space, protecting from space. What exactly is
we start with Earth observation, ISR capabilities from space. So the Bundeswehr will have their own satellite communication constellation on that matter in space. So they're aiming for that. At the moment, there are a handful of satellites by the Bundeswehr for communication, but in GeoBelt and for Earth observation, they have some SAR capabilities in space, but also those need to be refreshed. And and that's a new idea, instead of having the X ton satellites that take 10 years to develop, 10 more years then to launch. And then when they're launched, they're outdated technologies. They start really call it a new space approach, smaller units in LEO, faster replacement, things like that. And that goes with a ground infrastructure, that goes with even space defense capabilities in space, so on-orbit servicing, all that stuff. Situational awareness is a big thing in space. So space situational awareness, that you know what's going on there and who's crossing your path.
Yeah.
So
that's one thing I always think about. I think there's so much stuff floating around out there. Well, how is it not crashing into each other all the time?
Because people are watching it. That's the point. Because if these are the accidents or incidents which have a low probability but a high impact. If these things crash into each other, then you have, and we have seen it in the past a few times, then you create a cloud of debris that start to move on, and then creates more debris, and that comes then to this point where it's uncontrollable and not predictable anymore. That's the so-called Kessler effect, that you have orbits that might be not usable anymore. So, and that's something everyone tries to prevent at any cost.
Mhm.
Because if that happens, and we had these collisions are in space by Iridium and Cosmos that creates whatever 8,000 space debris. We had the ASAT tests, the anti-satellites tests by the US, by China, by India, by Russia, just a few weeks before the Russian invasion to Ukraine, things like that. And these are events that are literally fatal also for our humans that we have in space. So the the ISS or the folks at on the ISS had to go into the capsulars just in case the ISS will hit by space debris.
Is there like any space cleanup efforts? You know, like in the ocean, they got that thing that just like collects all the plastic. Yeah, is that
and it's how effective?
Yeah.
Well, it's like a pin. You know, it's a needle in the haystack, but it.
No, absolutely. But the question is absolutely relevant. And I'm just coming back from or just coming over here to Frankfurt from Geneva, from the ITU Space Sustainability Forum, which discussed that on a level of how sustainable are we in our activities in space when it comes to frequency use. So that is not the debris part. The debris part is more addressed at UNOSA, United Nations Office for Outer Space Affairs, but they are huge activities. So we have companies like Astro Scale or Clean Space here in Europe that go for removing actively debris. ADR, active debris removal is a term that we use. But the question is, who pays for it?
Right.
And but there is a huge demand. But also here, when we remove one part, and Elon is launching another bunch of 500 satellites with one go or so, or when our Starship comes online, then it's even in the thousands. I mean, what is the effect?
Right.
But we are talking about satellites that are not maneuverable anymore, because if I have control over the assets that are in space and then I can maneuver what I do. I mean, even so, I'm flying with 27,000 kilometers per hour in space in LEO. I know when it will be back because my trajectory is predictable. So, but the point is, if I can't maneuver, or two satellites are on collision course that can't maneuver,
You can't do anything about it. There's just going to happen.
You can sit down and pray.
Yeah.
That's it.
Wow.
That's
So
crazy.
what's going on with Mars? Is Elon Musk the only person talking about going to Mars, or is that more of a thing in the community worldwide?
I would say their ambitions are also from Europe to do things on Mars, but at the moment the focus is definitely Moon or cislunar, what is Moon and Leo regime. I would say at the moment Elon is by far the most active one when it comes to Mars, and let him do that. Let him go there.
Let him stay there.
That's what you said, but I'm fine with that.
So will we at some point be developing on the moon, do you think?
Yes,
For sure.
Yeah.
And like, if you were to put a timetable on it, speculatively, what would it be, do you think?
I would say in our lifetime,
Really?
we will see humans back on the moon.
Nice.
Will we see those big settlements of 1,000 people on the moon? No.
Yeah.
But I think we will have a permanent presence on the permanent human presence on the moon, like we have it today on the ISS in the early 40s, 2040s. I mean, that might be
That's so cool.
after us, but
We'll finally get to the moon.
back to the moon.
Depending on which, whether you're the tinfoil hat guy like Kent or the rest of the world that sees
exactly.
it. I got to ask, what's the benefit? Why? What's the point in
Why
having
in space or why moon?
Yeah,
or-
why? What's having a permanent human presence on the moon?
Why not?
Just to is that it? Is it why not? Just because we can? Or
There's other resources on the moon that will be valuable to us.
Okay, do we have now the helium-3 conversation? I don't want to go there. I think there's an interest to go to the moon. There are business plans that have these economical billion, trillion, whatever economy thing,
Yeah.
mining on the moon,
You got
mining
yeah.
resources on asteroids.
Yeah.
Okay, I see them, I respect them, but
Yeah.
that's it. Do I believe in it? Not sure, because what are the, I mean, even so, it's the most valuable thing you can find on the moon, and then you get it back to Earth. I mean, the cost involved. I mean,
Right.
how do you judge that?
Yeah.
I think what can be an interesting use case is you find something, even at the regolith, that you do something out of that. You're building bricks out of the regolith to build houses. So not to bring all the material from Earth. And that's something which is there with high evidence, water ice on the moon. Water is one of the most valuable things that we can find in space. So because water can be obviously consumed by astronauts if it's cleaned, and but it's also, if you split it, helium, not helium,
Hydrogen.
hydrogen and oxygen, and then put that together, put a flame on it, and then you have a big boom. So it's a perfect rocket fuel as well. And that's one idea, to use the moon, for instance, as a springboard into space.
Yeah. Okay.
Because with less, if you see a rocket today, 95% is structure and propellant.
Yep.
So, I mean, that's not really very effective, not with German standards of effectiveness. If you do it from the moon, you have less gravity. So you need less structure, less propellant to get off.
Interesting.
Yeah, because you spend
Interesting.
most of the
Got that.
fuel just to get out of the atmosphere, right?
Getting out of the Earth's
Gravity.
gravity.
Yeah.
Gravity.
Yes.
So who ultimately controls what goes on in space? Is there
Is there like a bunch of word salad acronyms that
is there some person or some organization that controls what goes on in space?
So the United Nations of Space things like that. Yes and no.
Seems like the wild, wild west.
It is partially, it is.
Yeah.
But there is the ruling element is the Outer Space Treaty of 1967.
Okay.
So what started between Russia and or Soviet Union and the US to agree what to do in space, and that's rule set is quite detailed, but it came online in a time where just states have done things in space, because space, the EU, was the ultimate high ground that led to the space race to have the first human in space. And I mean, do we really believe that Gagarin was there to do some experiments in microgravity? No, not at all. I mean, it was a demonstration of power to get a human in space. And I mean, Sputnik before led in the US to a huge development of space capabilities, because said, oh, Sputnik is up, it's beeping, but it's knowing our life now here. So it wasn't, you know, an overshoot of response to this beeping thing, but it led then to the space development that we see today. So, and then having a human in space in LEO, you have the ultimate high ground. If I have a satellite and I fly over your territory, I know what you are doing, and I know what you are doing day and night now, and even underground and wherever. So whatever my frequencies can have. So the Outer Space Treaty rules this, who is doing something in space, quite detailed. But so, I mean, Article 6 includes the supervision of states of any activities of their citizens' companies. So even Elon is ruled by the United States authorities. That's the Office of Space Commerce, it's FAA, FCC, you name it. There's a bunch of entities in charge. In Germany, it's a DLR, as a space agency. It's a DLR where you have to get your license from to do something in space. You have to register your object. You need your frequency. You have to apply for frequency with your national regulator, but ultimately it goes into the ITU. If I'm having a geostationary communication satellites, the old TV satellites, they have to be coordinated at the ITU. So with our neighbors, that I have frequency, where I can transmit, and so on and so forth. All of that.
I had no idea that was that.
So interesting.
There is not a person, but there is the responsibility of the governments, of the states that put something in space. And let's face it, at the moment we have less than two handful of countries that are able to fly something in space, to launch stuff.
right.
We have over 100 countries that have space activities. We have 80 countries with space agencies at the moment. So,
Wow.
but still out of almost 200 countries or nations that we have on Earth. So there's room to grow. I mean, the ITU has 196 member states, and the ITU coordinates all the communication on Earth and off Earth. The UN COPUS, United Nations Committee of the Peaceful Use of Outer Space, to unwrap this acronym at UNOSA, the United Nations Office for Outer Space Affairs in Vienna, has, I think, above 100 countries that are members,
Okay.
which are discussing their space activities. Then you have on the UN side, UNIDIR, it is armament people that are looking from a security point on what's going on in space. I mean, who's putting weapons up, who is doing spammers, jammers, offensive space capabilities. I mean, the US administration earlier last year addressed that the Russians are bringing a nuke in space. So, and they have evidence for that and what does it mean? So if that is really true, then it's a violation of the Outer Space Treaty because it prevents the placement of weapons of mass destruction in space. Not weapons. We have to be really precise on here, but the weapons of mass destruction in space. That's a big difference. I mean, if you want to defend your own satellite, then you can have a ballistic one. What is again could be then an ASAT thing, or you have a sprayer or a jammer or inspection satellites. So if I can come close to you and move you from A to B, then sorry for you, but or if I turn your antenna away from Earth, then or your sensors away from Earth, then you will see something, but not what you were supposed to see. So
Interesting.
then responsible behavior of actors in space. That is the.
But isn't there like massive privacy concerns with all these satellites and everything? Like, should people be worried about that? Like they could be spying on you at any point in time.
Oh, they are. They are. Everyone.
But I know it's not like invasion of privacy or something.
Sure.
I don't know.
So what?
Yeah.
Talk to your.
Tell it to the judge.
Yeah.
No, talk to your congressman. I would say.
Big Brother is always watching.
Yeah, but with what did you say? 100 countries have assets in space?
No, we have at the moment, if I'm not mistaken, 12,000 active satellites in space. I mean, most of them are owned by Elon or are Starlink satellites, but we have we see it here at Intergeo satellites that are commercially products with 25 centimeter resolution. That means 25 centimeter per pixel. So is that enough to detect a person? Yes, you can see a person, but not their eye color. I mean,
You see an image.
I think, what was it? Will Smith's or Enemy Number One? Enemy Number One.
I remember that. Yeah. Enemy of the State.
Yeah, Enemy of the State. I mean,
German
was Staatsfeind Nummer 1.
And they got down to way, and then that was
I mean,
15, 20 years ago.
Absolutely.
So
do we have this capacity in space? I would say no. I mean, there's obviously a very big disclosed area of space activities and capabilities that are disclosed by satellite stuff. But at the end of the day, there is physics also that matters. I mean, PowerPoints does not create these 5 centimeter solutions. You need physics to do that. And that goes with optics. And I mean, the law of physics are still applied. And if you have a satellite with a 20-meter optics, then you might go and see something as small as 5 centimeter on Earth. But we don't have them in space.
and it's also moving at 27,000 kilometers an hour. I mean, it's also
but that's the speed it's travels. It's relative to the distance. And you still have. I mean, look around here and look at on a few of the Earth observation images that companies provide. They're pretty cool. They're pretty sharp with their 30 centimeter, 50 centimeter resolution. So, but we are on our way, I would say.
Okay.
So interesting. I could talk to you for another 2 hours, but probably should let you go.
What is there anything? How do people, if they're interested, how do people find out more? Go to the website.
Yeah, sure. I mean, come to our spacewatch.global, or that's our website, or if you see one of our space cafes on the podcast site or webinars, or
Nice.
yeah, feel free to join in and ask questions. And
It's really
be cur-
it's really cool what you're doing.
Yeah,
Just get
absolutely.
more info
So
out there,
intrigued.
and yeah, that's it.
I need to do more research.
Yeah, clearly.
I think I do own a plot of land on the moon, though.
Oh, do you?
Yes.
Oh,
Yes.
I'm sorry to say.
They have a
but
deed.
yeah. I'm sorry to say, but
We're
it was a scam. So I can give you my PayPal. I mean, it's.
I can sell you a the moon. Great.
Thought I had a good investment there. Well, hey, Torsten, thank you so
Yeah,
much.
Thank you. Appreciate the
Great
time.
conversation.
Absolutely.
All the pleasure.